There appears to be something very wrong at a Wisconsin elementary school. Now, we've told you before about Madison Bergman, a fifth grade teacher who resigned after shocking allegations came to light about her behavior with an 11-year-old boy. At the time, we knew a fellow teacher was accused of knowing about the so-called relationship and not reporting it. But now, as we learn more about her, this case has gotten worse. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. There are shocking new details that have come to light about a major scandal at an elementary school in St. Croix County, Wisconsin. You may remember this woman, Madison Bergman, right? She faces nearly a dozen charges related to sexual contact with a child under the age of 13 after she allegedly made out with an 11-year-old boy and carried on a wildly inappropriate messaging thread with him. Now, Bergman, who, by the way, had been set to get married when she was arrested in May of last year, oversaw a class of fifth graders at Rivercrest Elementary School. Now, we're going to talk more about her in just a moment, okay? But when all the details about Bergman started coming out, there was another fifth grade teacher, Abigail Faust, who resigned. Bergman's alleged victim told police that Faust knew about what Bergman was doing and didn't try to stop it. That alleged victim also revealed that Faust also had inappropriate contact with a student. And according to the New York Post, text messages between Bergman and the boy, of which there are tens of thousands, talk about alleged contact between Faust and another boy when she allegedly pushed him against a wall and kissed on the cheek. Faust was charged in St. Croix County with failure to protect a child, causing mental harm to a child, child enticement, and sexual misconduct by school staff or a volunteer. As news of those charges spread, a family in nearby Washington County, Minnesota, just across the border, they realized that was their nanny. That's right. This family had hired Faust back in 2021 to help watch their children, reportedly a baby who was a few months old, a girl who was around 9, and a boy who was 15 when he claims Faust started sexually abusing him. And if that allegation just wasn't heinous enough, the teen claims that Faust also started sleeping with his friend. Because some of the alleged contact between the teens and Faust happened in Wisconsin, Faust now faces 13 more charges. So 2 counts of use of a computer to facilitate a child sex crime, 5 counts of second-degree sexual assault of a child under 16 years of age, 3 counts of child enticement, 2 counts of exposing a child to harmful material, and 1 count of causing a child under 13 to view or listen to sexual activity. Now, we got our hands on the newest criminal complaint that was filed against her, and honestly, strap in because the details are very, very disturbing. So we want to get into this, and to dig into the evidence that the police have compiled so far, I want to bring on back here onto the show former criminal prosecutor Dan Shore. And for anybody who doesn't know, Dan is also leading a sexual misconduct investigation firm that works with schools and educational institutions. And he is also an author who has a book that is, unfortunately, very similar to the content that we talk about. Isn't that right, Dan?
Yeah, it's called Open Bar, and it's about sexual misconduct at educational institutions. This is a wide-ranging issue that I see all the time in my work, and the book tries to show behind the scenes what really happens in these cases, not just what you see in the news. So it's always important to talk about these issues, and I'm glad you're covering them.
So, Dan, before we even get into the specifics of this criminal complaint, does it surprise you, does it shock you that we were talking about two alleged predators at one school? Oh, and then it's what, an elementary school?
Right. There's a lot of shocking details here. And unfortunately, we see in a lot of cases that when someone does offend and does sexually abuse someone who is a minor, when they're a teacher, there's a lot of cases where it's not an isolated situation. If someone feels emboldened to engage in that kind of conduct, I've seen in my investigations, both as a prosecutor and as an investigator for colleges and universities, that often there's a history of misconduct. And that's why when there is one allegation, it's really important for schools to look into and for law enforcement to look into what else has been happening in this person's career. And you also have that separate allegation that this teacher at another school had known about another inappropriate relationship that someone else was engaged with and hadn't properly disclosed that. So there's so much to unpack here. Unfortunately, a lot of disturbing details.
You know, as we're talking about this, I have to tell you, I cover crazy stories all day, and I'm not going to lie to you. It really makes me stop and think about myself, my loved ones, family. If something should happen, would my family